was born in Soweto, and at the age of 5, my parents moved back to Limpopo,
Yeah.
and that's where I grew up. I started school in Limpopo and also completed my matric that side in deep villages of Limpopo, in a place called Sogosese. Other people, they call it Mamaila. It's under Zaneng municipality. And later, after passing my matric, I went to University of Johannesburg. That's where I studied mining engineering. And my activism actually started there as a student leader and the chairperson for mining forum for mining students. And I went to the industry after completing my studies. And after that, I realized that, I think that there are some issues that, in the mining sector. I then founded the Mining Forum of South Africa 10 years back, which looks at, compliance in the mining sector to enforce, and do oversight for mining companies to comply with the regulations that governs the mining sector as a whole. And that's basically where things, started. And today, I'm also the president of Employment Rights Party, which advocates for employment for South Africans in general. And I'm contesting these elections in the province of Limpopo and Gauteng as an independent candidate and hoping to get a seat in parliament.
I mean, speaking about the Employment Rights Party, I'm interested in finding out the direction that you chose. I mean, it's a party that you're part of, but instead you wanted to go the independent route. How did that decision come about?
Okay, Employment Rights Party, we registered very late this year. Around March, our application was finalized, and so we saw that it was late to actually go as a political party, and because many of the people do not know about the party, and it was going to be very hard for us with limited resources to actually run as a party. But as an individual, we saw it that it was going to be easier, because some of us were already known for activism in all sectors of the economy and championing employment for our people. And I'm standing as an independent in the province of Limpopo and Gauteng, as I said, and hoping to get a seat in parliament.
What do you think will be difficult in these year's elections for independent candidates? I mean, this will be the first time, even though the independent route has always been there, but now it is more formalized, if I may put it that way.
Yeah, but also I think that the IEC did not do much justice to us. The voters, when we go to them, they still do not know the difference between an independent and a party. In fact, when you go to some of them, it's the first time they hear about an independent candidate. They are asking, which party are you? I'm saying, I'm not a political party. I'm an independent. Still, they do not understand. But I think that, the IEs have tried to do whatever effort they've tried to do in making sure that they adopt, the policy of having candidates on the ballot.
But do you think
when coming to voter, education, that was too lacking?
Yeah, because I was getting to that one. Do you think that they fell short in terms
Yes,
of
correct.
education?
Voter education is bad. It's very bad. I mean, you could have seen adverts on TV. We never saw that. Or maybe advert on radio, maybe, in Bezos, where they go to communities and communicating to say, we have changed the laws and the regulations. And that is not, it never happened. So we, as independent candidates, we have to start from the ground. First, we have to educate, the voters about this, what is independence. Contesting as an independent, and but we are here where we are right now, but we are not going back, and we are campaigning as much as we can in order to win the trust of South Africans.
I want us to get into your election strategy, your manifesto, as a lot of people are saying it. Let's talk about your priorities. You've touched on the issue of mining, and non-compliance and all these kind of issues. Let's talk about what are your key focus areas as we are heading to these elections.
The first focus on my manifesto is jobs, and I think that is critical for South Africans. Looking at the statistics, we've got about 18 million people who are dependent on social grants out of 62 million South African population. And you've got 7.8 million people who are looking for employment opportunities and they are not finding one. That tells you that we have got a crisis in the country, right? Hence, I would prioritize the issue of employment, but how are we going to be doing that? Recently, I think you've seen, you had reports about retrenchments by many companies due to load shedding. It's very difficult for a country or an economy to create employment with load shedding that's happening right now, meaning that it's energy crisis that which we're experiencing. But we've seen the ANC government having to implement the just transition policy where they speak about getting rid or decommissioning the power stations of coal and introducing the solars and the renewables on the grid. But there's nothing wrong with having with having the renewables, but you cannot have the renewables and destroy another source of energy. Like we've seen the ANC government having to decommission Komati power station, and people lost about 6,000 jobs out of that. So what I'm trying to say is, out of the coal that which we've got coal resource in the country that can take us to another 50 years. If we use the coal power to power our coal plants to generate electricity. And what I'm suggesting is this: let's have a mixed energy. Let's not decommission our coal plants because we have got coal. Anyway, if while we're busy decommissioning, the demand of coal in Europe and the rest of the world is increasing, meaning that now they are actually competing with us using this, they are actually consuming a lot of our coal. We have not yet industrialized as South Africans. In the country, I can tell you, but the rest of the world, they are busy industrializing. They are leading in terms of the fourth industrial revolution. You cannot compete with the rest of the world, especially when coming to the fourth industrial revolution, if you do not have enough, because this is technology that you are going to build. You need energy to do that. Let's deal with having mixed source of energy. Let's have renewables, let's have coal, let's maintain these power stations and also maybe increase the life of these power stations. Let's build a nuclear plant also. Now we have got available source of energy by so doing. Now we speak about industrialization, which I think that is point number 2 on my manifesto in terms of prioritizing. Let's industrialize. This country has got abundant minerals. I can tell you right now we've got the PGMs, the platinum group metals, the manganese, the iron ore, the coal, the chrome, all these minerals we have. I'm in the mining sector by being a professional, as a mining engineer in the mine. So I know the mineral deposit of this country. But I can tell you this, in South Africa, we are not even producing our own vehicle. We ship out these minerals, they go to the rest of the world, they go to Germany, they go to China, they go to everywhere, and they come back as final products, which is, cars, and we buy them and we consume. We are not producing anything. And I can tell you, it's going to be very difficult.
So I'm interested in finding out, so do you think the major problem with all these things, is it an issue of people coming in, political parties coming in, giving promises, but the how part is the one that's missing?
That's the how part, and it is the practical solution. We tell these mining companies to say, come to this country and do business. Come and mine. But you must understand that 50% of your minerals are going, it must be a policy, it must be added on the mining charter, it must be added on the Mineral Petroleum Resource Development Act, the one that governs MPRDA, which governs the mining sector in terms of the law. Now, we incorporate it there. We say 50%, come in mind, but 50% of your minerals, you are going to beneficiate them here. Meaning that you are going to create products, you are going to create, technology out of them. 50% it can go, but 50% it must create employment in our country. And by so doing, remember now, we are actually adding value to our mining sector, meaning that it's not only extraction, but now there is also production, there is beneficiation and making of new products. And that is, by so doing, also indirectly, we're actually creating jobs. And that's one of the, one thing that I'm pushing.
Okay, before we go for an ad break, what's your view of coalition government, if I may put it that way? A mixed bag of people, if I may put it
Correct.
that way, from different parties, independents, in order to form a government of unity, if I may.
Unfortunately, that's where we are going, and it cannot be avoided. But we also have seen in the recent years, the past years, through the political party, we've seen it failing there by Ekurhuleni and also Tshwane there. The situation is very bad. There are no decisions that which are taken there, solid ones that which can benefit the people. These political parties, they've got their own agenda in terms of what they push, that which can benefit themselves as politicians. But unfortunately, where we are going in these coming elections, I think we are going to have a coalition government, and that's where, as in independent candidates, we are going to, to be involved in forming a government that which is going to be interested in serving our people.
I did not want to ask you this question, but I'm interested which party, or have you decided which party are you going to go into coalition with?
I always get that question. I will go for, I can go in coalition with a political party that, has got a clear vision that which, is going to serve our people in terms of making sure that the needs of our people on the ground are met. More importantly, the issues of service delivery and anti-corruption in terms of their agenda, to make sure that we get rid of corruption, but we serve our people properly, and that's to actually serve our people, and that's why we are elected, and that's why we are running as independent candidates and political parties, to actually serve our people. A vision that which is implementable, but not socialist ideas like expropriation of land without compensation and nationalization of mines and so on. Those are policies that I'm not I'm against, because I think there is a better way to do things than those.
Now they're interested in finding out, will you be visiting their communities? How the campaign has been so far?
Well, already started visiting communities. I've been in the West Rand, Renfontaine side. I've been in many, in the villages, many villages in Limpopo.
Yeah.
I think I've been, in Venda, I've been in the Bulawayo side, I've been in Giani, I've been in Polokwane. I'm actually visiting all these places and meeting with the people and listening to the needs of the people. But more importantly, to also see what are the challenges that which people are facing on the ground. But I can tell you, these things differs. In Gauteng, the situation is different. In Limpopo, people do not have water in the villages.
Yeah.
I can tell you, it's a crisis. You wouldn't think that after 30 years of democracy, it's one element that which people can struggle with. But when you go to Gauteng, like where I visited, is the issue of housing, is the issue of of land. There are many issues that which affects South Africans differently. But the poverty levels in South Africa, you will realize when you go to these places that the poverty levels are very high, and many, I can tell you, these grants, they play a very critical role, especially when as part of alleviating poverty in South Africa. And I would wish that the government could actually add more money of grants, be it for unemployment, grants that which have been given must be, I think they must be increased, because people are suffering, and 350 or 370 is not doing, much, there's more poverty in the communities. And, I'm still going to be visiting a lot of, villages and towns and cities to communicate my, my vision for South Africa through my manifesto.
I mean, you're contesting, I wouldn't say Limpopo is not key because every province is key.
Yeah.
But you look at Gauteng province, how it is, and stuff, and obviously you need to garner the necessary votes because for the legislature, we know it's just close to 16,000 votes that you need, and almost 100,000 for parliament there. In terms of, your campaign trail, I mean, obviously you need deep pockets to be able to compete with political parties. As we see on, various highways, we see placards, billboards there. How difficult is it for independent candidates?
When you enter the world of politics, you'll understand that it's no matter what message you have, whether it's appealing to the people, but resources plays a very critical role, especially in mobilizing people, transporting people, and regalias, the T-shirts that which to communicate your constituency, so that they are able to see this is my constituency, and so on. But you'll understand that there's the money that which is needed, but from donations that which I get personally, from individuals who are willing to actually add to the campaign and contribute. That's basically how we are running these campaigns. We managed to get some placards in some cities like Gauteng and Limpopo. We do have placards on the road and so on. But you realize that that's not enough. Donations are not enough. You need more money to actually, or resources to actually run a successful campaign. Some of these parties do not even have an appealing, messages to the people. You look at their manifesto, they're offering nothing. But then because of resources, they're able to reach a lot of people and convince people with nothing after all. Yeah.
Your final message. We are 24 days to the elections. I mean, people will be going to the special voting from the 27th. What would be that message to, our viewers out there that are still trying to figure out a way forward they can't choose at the moment?
Voting for Blessing Ramoba, you are voting for employment opportunities. You are voting also against illegal immigration in this country. You are voting again for secure borders, meaning that proposal or proposing building of a wall to make sure that our borders are safe. You are voting for hope and also accountability, and so that there is able to be oversight in Parliament, to be able to push whosoever will be leading this country to say our people need service delivery. You are voting for opportunities for graduates who also graduated from universities many years back that are unable to get employment. Some of them be due to the restrictions of age 35 and all of that. That is going to be scrapped. You are voting for hope. You are voting for opportunities in businesses, for small businesses to be funded, whether big or small. They must be able to it must become simple to be able to get funding as a business, whether you are selling on the street. But also more importantly, you are voting for black businesses, especially when coming to spaza shops. Those spaza shops must be operated by South Africans. Those spaza shops currently in our communities operated by foreign nationals, it must stop. Only that business small businesses in particular, or informal businesses, must be given to South Africans. And that's what the message that which I'm sending to South Africans, and also encouraging them to vote for me.
Young people seem to be dejected. Most of them on social media saying, look, we don't think we will take part in the elections. They haven't taken part in the previous elections also, which is a concern that has been raised. How do you think we need to woo these young people to to cast their ballot? Just
young people must understand. I'm also very young. I'm 35 years of age. The future belongs to us as young people. and we should create our own future that we want to see. I think it's time that young and old, we must get involved in the political sphere of South Africa. Because if you sit and complain and do nothing, then there's no solution to that. Young people must go and they must also get involved, in organizing and getting involved in politics. They must go out also get involved when coming to voting. And that's how you are shaping the future you want to see. Having to sit and do nothing, meaning that you complain and not get involved, will not help us and the future generations, which is our children.